Hello everyone, it's Deb Floros, guest designer for Rings and Things. These large agate gemstones and small agate gemstones, 12 millimeter and 3 millimeter, were the inspiration for a fun necklace design. We're going to use that really cool pewter connector. It's a large U-shaped link. We're going to use some white plated metal beads, 3.2 millimeters, and some flat star spacer beads. They're silver plated as well. We're going to start by cutting about 2 feet of 24 gauge wire, and we're going to take our little or a large U-shaped pendant, and we're going to do about 4 wraps of the wire tightly around one end of our connector. And you can tighten up those coils with your fingers or a pair of pliers. 24 gauge wire is very pliable, very easy to work with. You'll cut off your excess. Then you're going to take 3 of those 3 millimeter natural agates and string them onto your wire, and you're going to create a little loop or half circle of those beads that will sit along the edge of our connector piece. So string them on, and you'll see you can kind of fold them and hold them up on top of your pendant. Then you're going to take the wire and wrap it back around the connector piece. So you're going to hold onto those beads nice and tight, and you're going to tightly wrap that wire through and around your base there. So it will look just like that. And I do the same number of wraps every time. I did 4 in this case. You could do fewer, you could do more, totally up to you. And you could do it in kind of a messy wrap if you prefer that look. Then you're just going to continue on and wrap those beads on until you've gone all the way around your base or your connector piece. And I just take my thumb and forefinger and hold tightly onto the beads while I wrap. And then I can push my wire over a little bit if I need to make a nice half circle look onto my frame. You could even use more beads if you'd like, or you could wrap one at a time. There's all kinds of variation that you can do with this technique. So just emphasis on hold on nice and tight, get your wraps nice and tight, and make sure that the look is consistent. Now, the only thing that's inconsistent is the color of those stones, which I think is super cool. These stones look so, so beautiful, and when we add them to the rest of the design, it's just going to enhance the exotic look of this piece. So get all the way around, do your last few wraps, snip off your excess, and then take some flat nose pliers, chain nose pliers, and just press in the end of that wire. Look at that, it looks so great. Now we're going to shift to the stringing portion of the project. I've got some 19 strand beading wire, and I'm going to start with a pattern of those white plated metal beads, 3 of those, then 1 of our 3 millimeter stones, and we're going to do a pattern of those until we get to our desired length. I want that to be sort of the back of the necklace, and then focus on the larger beads being up front and the stars of the show. So you're going to put on 1 of the large beads, then 3 of those flat star spacers and another bead, and you're going to do that until you've got 9 of those sections. So 9 of those beads and the spacers that go with them. And once you get there, then we're going to introduce 1 spacer at the end of the last bead, and then we're going to string on the first end of our U-shaped connector that we've embellished, and we're going to put on another flat spacer on the other side of that. Then we're going to introduce another large bead, and then 3 spacers in between, another large bead, 3 spacers in between, and then 1 spacer. And that will just fill in that void space on the wire, and it will just kind of fill up that portion of the necklace and allow for the continuity of the strung portion of the design. So once we've got that last spacer on there, then we'll string on the other end of our connector, and they have nice generous holes. Then you'll put one spacer on the other side, and then you're just going to continue on with the same exact pattern on the other side of the necklace. So your large beads, your 3 flat star spacers, and then the smaller bead sections of the necklace. And I do a little bit of quality checking here and at the end of the smaller bead section, just to make sure that I didn't miss a bead or mess up the pattern in some kind of way. So I just do a little bit of double checking, make sure everything looks right, everything looks good. Then you can start working on your closure. I'm just going to do a very simple lobster claw and jump ring closure here. You could use a toggle clasp or a hook and loop clasp, whatever you're most comfortable with, but that's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to use some French wire to cover up my beading wire. So I've got about 1.25 inches. I'm going to split that in half by cutting it with my cutters. I'm going to put a size 2 crimp tube, a half of my French wire, and my jump ring on first. And you'll want to make sure your jump ring is closed nice and tight. Then you're going to take your beading wire and go down through the crimp tube and those first 3 of your metal beads. Then you're going to crimp and make sure that that French wire doesn't get caught into your crimp, and then cut off your excess wire. On the other end, you're going to do the same thing with your lobster claw, making sure you have enough room for that lobster to move freely within the loop of French wire. Cut off your excess after you crimp, and then you've got your closure for this beautiful piece. I'm crazy about how exotic this looks. The colors are beautiful. The textures are great. You can find everything to make this fun and beautiful necklace at ringsandthings.com. Thank you so much for watching.